week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of the shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last thoughts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike, and you need to put your microphone down.
Magic Mike Show. Sorry about that. I'm running, trying to cramming in a lunch while we were had the preview going there. This is episode 363.
Florida Derby, huzzah!
Oh, how you doing today, buddy?
I am doing well. I'm excited. Got a big weekend of racing coming up. I'm starting to get almost done with the Florida Derby card. It's a fun card. I can't believe who I freaking picked in the first race that we're going to cover, or third race we're going to cover in this sequence. Mile on the turf. It's a wide open affair. Pretty excited to go over that one. And I'm excited to see my boy White Barrio. We're going to learn a lot on Saturday about quite a few horses. And first and foremost is Charging White Barrio. I think those are the two headliners for the Florida Derby from a what we will learn. I guess Classic Causeway really deserves to be on that list as well. So it's going to be an exciting Saturday of racing as well.
Yeah, no hiding this time for Classic Causeway. It's put up or shut up time. But, we'll get more into that. But the fact that he showed up here really caught my attention here. But it's going to be a fun field. Or a fun sequence. It's all stakes. The late pick 4 Gulfstream. The last 3 are going to be graded, and 2 of them on turf. Thankfully, no synthetic handicapping, at least for this one. You want to do that, the early pick 5.
Once again, the synthetic haters, get out of here. Big day of racing. Gulfstream's doing it right, and the turf course is in great shape. Where are you? Where you at, synthetic haters? Come on.
I'm not hating it. I'm just saying I'm glad that we don't have to do it for this specific show. But yeah,
I know. I'm talking about all the people, the people on Twitter who are just haters of the synthetics, saying, "Oh, there's BS. Gulfstream shouldn't do this." But the turf course, great shape. These big days, we're getting the races we want. We're getting big fields. You gotta admit, it's kind of worked.
It did. Hey, listen, it's a great field, a great set of fields, and we've got a lot to talk about, Mike. Let's get right into it. Riders up.
Get the all-inclusive inside track to the 2022 Florida Derby Wagering Guide, featuring in-depth analysis of every single stakes on the card, including the $1 million Florida Derby. Plus, get race-by-race analysis, betting suggestions, and multi-race plays for the entire Gulfstream Park card. As a special bonus, you'll also get in-depth analysis of the $1.25 million Arkansas Derby and the $600 fantasy stakes from Oak Lawn Park, major prep races for the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. All wagering guides are included with any monthly subscription to premium picks from the experts at RacingDudes.com. Learn more at RacingDudes.com. And remember, never play a big day without visiting the Racing Dudes first.
All right, Mike, kicking off the all-stakes late pick 4 Gulfstream Park on Saturday, April 2nd. The only non-graded race in the entire sequence. It's a Sanibel Island. Still a great field of 10 3-year-old fillies traveling a mile and the 16th on the grass. What better way to kick off the late pick 4 than the future home of the Somich family?
Very true, man. I'm excited. We're so close. And this is a great race. I went to the rail here with Mischievous Kiss, who I think is going to absolutely trip out. We've got a couple horses that I think are, well, one's horse really specifically, Sensitivity, the 4 horse, who looks like pretty cheap speed in this spot. So I think that she's going to go out. You're going to see her set the pace. I think Joelle gets the absolute perfect stalking trip with the 1 horse, Mischievous Kiss here, sitting right behind the speed. I think the pace is going to be interesting in this spot because, Sensitivity stepping up here, going from a maiden win up into like very deep waters in the Sanibel Island here, no pun intended, with some horses that have run in some nice graded stakes races. So I'm looking for horses that can kind of stalk because outside of Sensitivity, there's really no pace. And one of the toughest parts for me was whether or not to include that horse, just in case you have that wire-to-wire threat.
Yeah, we'll talk about her in a second. I agree with you. Mischievous Kiss wasn't my top pick, but I think is still a must-use here. Very classy filly, 1-2 straight, including a mile and the 16th turf stakes in New York last fall. She wasn't my top pick because I was a little concerned about that Here Comes the Bride. And you could say, all right, she was gone for a little over 4 months. So that's why she wandered in the stretch. But she had I thought that she tripped out in that race. You had Spenderella and the cheap speed horse go off early, and she was sitting there in third and was just waiting for them, and they started to come back to her, and Spenderella kept going, and when Mischievous Kiss kicked in at the top of the stretch, she would go off, then she went in, then she goes outside, and she bumps with Opalina, who came from like way back and kept on going. So second off the layoff, that's 23% positive ROI angle for Mott. It just that effort there was enough to make me not the top pick here.
Yeah, I mean, we have a slight upgrade in the jockey spot. We're going from Brian Hernandez Jr. to Joel Rosario, which I'm hoping solves some of that problem. Also, they came home in 23-3 in that race. So it was tough to close into that final quarter of a mile. And so I'm hoping that the second off the layoff, the jockey switch, and the fact that actually came back a pretty solid race in my mind gives her enough to get over the hump here. And like I said, I think it's between the one horse Mischievous Kiss and the 6 horse Shed Nation, who kind of gets the opportunity to trip out here, because those are the other 2 horses I think have some tactical speed or should be sitting somewhat close to the pace in this spot. Hopefully one of them is able to get it done from right off the pace.
I just realized I completely wrote down the wrong horse here, because I was like, man, I can't believe we don't agree. I went 3 deep and we didn't agree on either of them. She wasn't my topic either, but I'll save that one for a little bit here. Ambitious. I'm not going to make you say it. I heard Pete Aiello say it. Ambitious is perfect. So the 8 horse for Graham Motion here at the bottom of the screen. We both like this horse. I like the fact that Graham Motion debuted her in a turf route. Immediately was like 2 turns on the grass. This is what she needs. We're not screwing around. We're not going to try and get that easy early win. We're going to build a good foundation. She breaks the maiden going 2 turns on the Gulfstream synthetic, and then she goes back to the Gulfstream Park turf, and she almost beats Opalina, who we just talked about, almost winning the Here Comes the Bride stakes. So a great effort, first time facing winners straight into a graded stakes race. Florida Oaks, I'm not quite sure what happened. I don't know if it was the good going on that turf course, if it was she didn't like Tampa. I didn't like Manny Franco's ride. I watched back this morning the replay to that, and he was fighting her for most of the race, and she was in between horses. And as soon as he was like, okay, go, she looked at him and said, fuck off, and just kind of like tanked. And she's like, I've been trying the whole time. Now you want me to go? No. So, now we've got Luis Saez, who I know is not going to fight a horse. If the horse is going, he's like, just go. We'll see what happens. But, Motion is shown a lot of faith in this horse. So that's why I liked her. Did I miss anything for you?
No, I mean, I'm just going to throw out that Tampa race. To me, it was just too bad to believe that the really slow fractions early. They ran pretty fast late. I agree with you. She just had absolutely no interest in running when Manny asked her. I think that she probably could have been a little better. And you had the good turf. So there's a bunch of different excuses that you can make for the horse. I'm willing to make all of those and just kind of draw a line through it. I'll be interested to see what the morning line is when this comes out. We don't have the morning lines yet, so I'm kind of interested to see what prices we're getting. I don't think MBU is going to get that heavily bet. I'm worried that Mischievous Kiss may be bet pretty good here. I actually used the horse right to the outside, too. My Philly Twirl. I ended up going 4 deep on my 50-cent ticket. I singled up in the $5 ticket, but I did go 4 deep here in the 50-cent ticket. And my Philly Twirl is another one that I think has the opportunity to just absolutely trip out. I'm guessing this horse is going to sit right to the outside of the one horse in that second pack right behind the lone leader. I like the fact that we get Leparoux up for Walsh. Walsh been doing very, very good at this meet, specifically on turf. So love having him here. This horse seems to be tuned up and ready to go. Ran really well winning last time out in mile 16th over this course at the $75,000 non-winners of one allowance level. Has tactical speed, but doesn't need the lead. I'm going to take a shot here. I think this is one of the more wide open races in the sequence. So I'm going to end up going 4 deep here. I'm going to go 1, 6, 8, 9 to kick it off in the 50-cent ticket.
Our buddy, horse guy Mike, who was at one point a serious threat in the Racing Dudes bracket tournament challenge. I think he fell off a little bit. I'm not throwing shade at you. You had a great start there, Mike. But anyway, Mike said rain expected for Saturday, and he is local, so he's letting us know could have another good turf situation here. So again, for Ambitious, if you're worried about the good turf maybe being the issue, I'm with Mike. Just throw that out. There were a lot of issues, but something to consider, and thank you for that, Mike. My top pick, there it is, Dr. Tang. The 2 Beechnut Trophy for Safi Joseph Jr. She's kind of sneaky here. I think we're working without the morning line. If she pops up at like 5-2, I'm like, well, there goes what I thought was sneaky. But you've got a granddaughter of Kitten's Joy who didn't try turf, tried synthetic 2 times. But again, like ambush shoes, Safi was like, we're putting you in 2 turns because that's what 1 turn, you are not fast enough for that. So 2 turns on synthetic, almost gets it done the second time, goes to turf, gets the job done. We come back 3 months later, 3.5 months later. Jose Ortiz is now riding. We're in an optional claiming event, and the horse wins by a length. If you watch that replay, 6 lengths the best. She had to go outside, inside, outside. But unlike when we saw that happen with Mischievous Kiss and Here Comes the Bride, this horse was doing it as she was progressing. There was a 4-wide wall of horses. She went outside, dove to the rail, and she could have won by 6 lengths instead of 1. So I love her here. I don't know what price we're getting, but she has a very nice progression with the speed figures. Safi Joseph Jr. bringing her along very well. So I'm going to use her. But again, we had 18-1 when she broke her maiden, and then 7-5 last out. So what odds do you think I'm going to get on Beachnet Trophy?
I'm not sure. Probably the 4-1 range. That would be my guess, somewhere around there. My issue is that race is really not good. The one that she's coming out of, the horse that ended up running second in that race has never won on turf. The horse that the 2 horses that were sub 5-1 outside of her, not great. I mean, the previous high buyer for the American Heroine, who was the shortest price, was $1 million war front in the Clement barn. So not knocking her too hard, but was 61 before that race. So not a ton of talent in that race. I agree with you. The trip was definitely brutal. She was much better than them. But now the question is going to be, how is she going to compare to these horses when she's got to really take a step up in class?
Mike, I could have sworn you in Florida. I'm sorry. He's in Arizona, which is like, if you're a horse racing fan, that's one of the worst places to be. They're killing horses on the track, and they're trying to kill horse racing in the state legislative board. I'm sorry, Mike. That's a bad spot to be. Dennis in the chat. Wow, Mike, and I agree. When me and the Samo man agree, it normally goes very poorly. So,
Dennis, get off the horse.
it was the 1-9, especially, but yeah, he likes shit and the 6. Man, he is not doing you any favors. I
need the 8 to get home. Last option.
Hey, listen, that you and I are with her. That's fine. For me, and then we can move on. I didn't love the fact that there seems to be some other speed in here, but I didn't think that My Philly Twirl really took a big step forward from the maiden win to the next one. The maiden win I thought was pretty impressive. She had a shorter field. She did what she needed to do that second time out, but it didn't make me think, kind of like what I saw with Beachnut Trophy. Visually, I was like, well, that's nice. Again, you bring up a good point. Beachnut Trophy should have looked that good if she wants to try and win this race. But yeah, that's my point of Philly Twirl. 2 horses to talk about real quick, and then we can move on. Sensitivity. Neither of us used, but looks like a potential gate to wire threat. And if she pops up at 20-1, I'm going to throw her on here because she was 31-1 on debut, but she went gate to wire. The problem is, Mike, that was a debut win, and now we're facing like stakes winners in this race. Like not stakes horses, stakes winners in this race. So that, for me, this is way too much of a jump for a barn that is not known for doing this at all. So that's why I said no. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, look, the price, obviously 31-1 last time out. Beat a sub even money favorite in Ultima Copa in that spot. But then you look at the fractions, and that's really what got me off. You went 6 furlongs and 114. That really takes everything out of the equation, because when you're going that slow at Gulfstream, you'd have a chance at holding on going a mile. It's kind of ridiculous how slow 114 is. And so when you see that number come up, you kind of shake your head and you're like, all right, well, even if she goes 114 against this group, that means you're going to have a graded stakes placed horse within a half length of you. Are we sure she's going to be able to outkick those horses coming for home? I think the answer is no, because you'll have both the 1 and the 9 within a half length of the 7 or 6. I'm sorry, of the 4. If she goes 114, and I don't trust that she can hold that caliber of horse off in her second career start.
I will point out that the sensitivity went 114.71, 144.44. My Philly Twirls win last out 114.91, 145.22 over the same distance. A lot slower.
A lot slower. Variance was significantly worse for My Philly Twirls. It's why I hate race times. Like, there's certain aspects of it where I just like, there's certain things where it just doesn't pay off to me. The variance, or I'm sorry, the race conditions, the track conditions were 27 when you look at My Philly Twirl, and they were 18 when you look at sensitivity. So the track was playing significantly faster. That number, the higher it is, the slower the track is playing on that day when you compare it to other races. So the My Philly Twirl day, the track was playing significantly slower from that specific number.
I think it's fine if you want to compare on the same day, but these were almost 2 weeks apart. And you're right, Mike. I never think to look at that spot. The other one to talk about, the 7, Hail 2. Do you know who Hail 2's older brother is?
It's oh man, we've talked about this horse like 5 times, and every time you ask me that question, every time I get it wrong, I don't know. I'll go with like Sadler's Joy or something. I don't know.
Stay tuned. We'll answer that question later. Second
Oh,
leg of
great.
the late because we're going to talk about him in a different race.
Is it Wolfie?
Okay, so Wolfie's is a half brother to Sadler's Joy. So you have named both of her half brothers. Yes, congratulations. Yes! We'll move on. Second leg of it. Hopefully this isn't the only winning Mike does over about Gulfstream on Saturday. Second leg of the All Stakes, late pick 4 at Gulfstream Park Saturday, April 2nd. It's the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Oaks with either 6 or 7 3-year-old fillies going. We don't really know what's going to happen with Katish yet, the 2-horse, or Kaddish, but doesn't matter. All eyes are on the 7-horse. Your morning line favorite at what is she? She's 4-5. It's Mike Somich's absolute favorite filly. Throw up the O for Kathleen O. Are you singling her?
So this is interesting because I am on the $5 ticket, and on the 50-cent ticket, I'm going to go too deep. The only way Kathleen O gets beat, I'm really cursing her here, is if the 2-horse Katish goes wire to wire. So I have the 2 on my 50-cent ticket just in case, even though we don't know if the 2 is going to be running here. So to me, this is between the 2 wiring the field or the 7 destroying the field. If the 2 comes out, I have to kind of reassess if anyone can wire the field because that puts another kind of variable in here. But to me, the question is whether or not Kathleen O is able to get the distance. I think the answer is a hell yes on that one. I'm not that worried about it. She looked amazing in the Devona Dale. I think she's going to look very good. And honestly, like, not a bunch of world beaters here, right? Like, this isn't exactly the toughest field to take out. I would say that the field she faced in the Devona Dale was tougher than this one, at least when they were going into the race. Coming out of it, it has not looked as great as it did going in. But I think she absolutely rolls again on Saturday. I think this is probably your most likely single on the whole card for pretty much every late sequence, the pick 4, the pick 5, and the pick 6. And it's a horse that I love. I think she's awesome. She's my pick right now for the Oaks. We'll see if that's the same thing on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see Saturday after the race is over. Mike, you and I saw this exactly the same way. We both went 2-7 here for the exact same reason. But my thinking was, how does Kathleen O get beat? She has another one of those bad breaks, and now we're going 2 turns. And when you have a horse that has a certain amount of kick going 1 turn, you stretch them out to 2. They don't usually carry that with them. And so if she goes 2 turns and she breaks slowly and is last, and Katish, whatever the hell the 2 horses name is, if she gets off on a loose lead, because I'm with you, I think this is your pace setter, drawn inside of anyone else that might have other speed. Really sneaky chance here. And not the second choice. I want nothing to do with Goddess of Fire at 19-1, not 9-5. So 6-1 third choice. The big question, if you're not aware, that we're alluding to, she's cross-centered in the Bourbonnette Oaks at Bourbonnette Oaks at Turfway Park on Saturday. That race, she has a much worse draw. I think she's like drawn post 11. There's a lot more fillies in there trying to get the Kentucky Oaks points that are worth half as much as what she could earn for racing in this spot against 6 other horses, and probably 4 of them have no shot of beating her. So all that to say, I think this is where she runs.
I think so too, because Irad took them out. That's the other part of this. Because Irad decided to say, "Hey, I'll ride," and it's Jonathan Thomas, and he's got horses up at Saratoga, and he's one of those trainers that will want to have Irad later. I think that because he got Irad here, because of the draw, that she ends up here, and she's a player. I mean, like you said, if Kathleen O doesn't break well, she gets to go 48 up front. She could wire this field.
Jonathan Thomas, her trainer, had 10 wins, or has 10 wins so far this year. 9 of them have come at the meet at Gulfstream Park. He is very strong, 24%, or 26% right now at the meet. So really clicking along. But yeah, we definitely want to have Kaddish come here. Aaron come in with a hot take. If the 2 stays or comes in, or stays in or comes out, I have a gut feeling that the 7 wins. So there you go. There's
a hot take at 4-5.
Now extend that out for 20 minutes. That's blinkers off later tonight.
Yeah, I do got to say, yes, Alex, I love it. I had this horse too. I think it was 6-1, 7-1. First off, Asmussen on turf is a true angle. People need to start respecting this thing, man. When it leaves the Asmussen barn and goes onto turf that first time out, you got to watch it. And Miguel Vasquez, great ride there. He rode that horse very, very well. Let the 7 and the 10 go, and then swooped right to the outside. I love it.
Third leg of the All-Stakes, late pick 4 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. No, I didn't have anything to add to that. I'm not watching. April 2nd, back on the turf here. Speaking of which, we'll see if we have – I don't think we have any first time off the ass mans here, but it is the Grade 3 Appleton Stakes. We got 9 older males going a mile on the turf. I thought of the races in the sequence easily, this was the toughest one of the 4 to handicap. Did you think it that way too?
Yes, I did, and I cannot believe the two horses I'm picking here. I mean, this was just an absolute for me. Like this is one of those where I wish I didn't know the names of the horses when I was handicapping, because I am 100% biased in this spot, and I was able to, I believe, get through my bias here. Look, this race has a ton of speed in it, I'm glad he cashed out. $15 on that horse was crazy. If this race has a ton of speed in it, and so it's like, okay, I love Wolfie's Dynaghost with all my heart, right? And it's tough spot here because you got Gray's Fable that wants to go. You've got just a handful of horses that I think show speed. I think Fan of Courtesy probably goes. I mean, did you see the workouts from Fan of Courtesy? This is a first off the layoff here, off almost a year layoff. 57 flat.
Yeah.
for 5 furlongs flat. Like, so you've got a ton of speed here that we're going to see in this race. The one horse that's got like speed, there's two horses that have sneaky speed that can sit right behind and still have a kick. And it's English B and Noble Indy. And I picked English B so many times on this show. And I'm going to put English B on top again because English B should really trip out here. And please just get it done one time for me, English B, because you should be able to beat this field. I'm going to put English B on top. I think English B is going to sit probably third or fourth, right behind the speed. Noble Indy is going to be right around that same spot. They're going to be the two running from closest. And I don't want to be closing from the absolute clouds going a mile on the turf at Gulfstream or else Scarlet Sky would be higher up in my list here. I'm going to go with the 1 and the 9 as the must-uses, and I'm going to put those two on my $5 ticket.
I kept going back so many different times going, wait, this is a mile? Because when I was handicapping this, and granted, this was about 11 o'clock last night when I first did my pass, but I kept going, it's a mile and 16th, right? No, it's a mile. It's a mile and 16th, right? No, it's a mile.
It's a mile. It's a mile. Yeah, I know, Chris. It is close to intervention time with me, English B. I'm not going to lie. It's close.
Listen, if it is for you, it's going to be for me because English B is also my pick.
Yeah.
Listen, 3 of his 5 turf wins have come at a mile. He's cutting back to a mile. He hasn't done a mile in a really long time. He's got tactical running style, which he's going to need because he's in post 9 going a mile on the turf course. But he's also got a great jockey who's back aboard. We finally have a smart jockey back aboard who knows how to handle his tactical speed without trying to take out over half the field to get the job done. So it's classy as anyone. Great connections. The breeding is fantastic, though you really would think longer than a mile is better. But hey, listen, breeding is weird. Sometimes, this could be a dirt sprinter. So you never know. But yeah, I'm with you on English B. Listen, I went 4 deep and 3 of them you have on. You want to talk about Phantom Currency next because you touched on it. That 5 furlong work 4 days ago, going 57 flat. I mean, that's why I rides on, right? He never rides for Lynch unless the horse is live because he's 3 for 3 for Lynch in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's the combination of that work. It's the combination of IRAD, and then the whole body of works too. If you just keep looking over it at the different workouts for Phantom Currency, we got 3 bullets out of the last 6, and it's not like the others are slow. And you know why the 2 of the other 3 aren't bullets? He's the only horse that worked at 7 furlongs that day. So it's a really interesting work tab from Walsh here, where you have 5 furlong work as kind of the tune-up work, which is much longer than the general 3 to 4 furlong tune-up work. And then you have these 7 furlong turf works where he's going 12 or sub 12 in those, so still very fast for those races. This is clearly a horse where they're like, okay, we got to make sure we're bringing this horse back in shape. The goal is to win this race. This horse is 100% tuned up for it. Man, the works are it's impressive, and it's a really unique tab again. So I couldn't leave the 7 off as much as I wanted to off this layoff.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get a good price on him because he's actually never been favored in his entire career. So maybe we'll get a good price on him. I think he's the favorite. You do?
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. I mean,
who's the favorite?
Honestly,
this is where someone was giving Pete Aiello shit about morning lines. Good luck at making this morning line. This one is wildly difficult. I think Phantom Currency is probably the favorite based off the works, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. This is a mess of a. I was gonna say English B, but that horse was double digit or 9-1 is above his last 4 starts. So yeah, it's probably not gonna be. This is a crazy one. Let's keep going here because the other one that we agreed on, we talked about Wolfie's Dynaghost. I think he's probably got a great shot. Here's the thing: I actually think Wolfie's Dynaghost wins this if he doesn't set the pace. Because if you look at his form, when he tries to go gate to wire, it doesn't actually work out for him. 3 of his 4 wins, he was second or third half of a mile into the race. I think with a lot of speed in here, if Jose Ortiz is smart and sets back, I mean, save ground right behind whoever's leading into that first turn, I think that's his best shot to win, which is odd to say because you think this horse is just all speed, but his wins, he needs to be right behind you and wait for you to shit out, and then he goes by you.
Yeah, this is one of those spots where, like, you love Wolfie's on the lead, and he has the fastest early time form rating, so he's supposed to be on the lead, I guess. But, like, I don't think it is the best for him either. I think sitting second or third here is probably where he wants to be. The pace in this race is to me, by far the most decisive factor in who actually wins the race. I'm hoping that Wolfie stays off it. I'm including Wolfie's Dyna Ghost on the 50-cent ticket, not going to include him on the $5 ticket. This is a tough spot for Wolfie's Dyna Ghost because it's just that win on the synth was huge. I just don't know if he can replicate that performance against this group.
Did you use Scarlet Sky, the 2-horse, right, on your 50-cent ticket? You want to talk about that? Because James brought up Sugar McGahee going for 2 in a row here with Scarlet Sky.
Yeah, I included Scarlet Sky mainly because I wanted someone who was going to be closing here. And this is like your only deep closer in the field, really. The 1 has some early speed. The 3 has some early speed. The 6 has some early speed. 7 has early speed. 9 has, like, there's a bunch of horses that want to be forwardly placed. They could absolutely fly this first quarter. And Rosario is very good at closing. Scarlet Sky has won at this track, has won at this distance. So I'm not worried about that as much as I would generally be. The question is, how far back is Scarlet Sky going to be? You don't want to be making up 10 to 15 lengths on the Gulfstream Park turf going a mile. That's my main concern with Scarlet Sky. But I feel like you almost have to include this horse because of all of the speed that's signed on here.
I forgot about this. Horse Guy Mike brings up Phantom Currency. 3 starts back was 155 to 1. Maybe we get that. Yeah, that was the grade 1 Clark, where he somehow was a length and a half ahead of Bodie Express at the half-mile pole. And then, you wonder why he finished last by about 83 lengths. I think that's why he was somehow ahead of Bodie Express by a length and a half, half a mile into the race. I think we exhausted. The other one I was going to talk about, the 8 Carpenter's Call, I think will be a short price. I'm not using, probably not you either, because, hey, great Tampa form. We ain't at Tampa.
It's also a massive step up. I mean, this horse last time out was 32,000 non-winners of 2. Before that, 25,000 non-winners of 1. You look compared to like English B, who's back-to-back-to-back graded stakes. You look at Phantom Currency, grade 2, Safe Conduct, grade 2, Gray's Fable, grade 2. This is just a massive step up here.
Yeah, his form completely turned around once he hit the turf in Tampa for the first time. He's undefeated in 3 starts, and his buyers have, improved each time. But yeah, there's too many things happening. I appreciate the ambition. Could very well hit the board. You're not there. You need too many things to go right for you to win this race. And speaking of that, there's a lot of horses. In fact, I'd say about 7 or 8 of them need everything to try and go right if they want to win the Grade 1 Florida Derby, the final race of the late pick 4 sequence, Saturday, April 2nd at Gulfstream Park. Our boy Wetabario is the not the favorite, the second choice at 3-1. Simplification, second to Wetabario, 2 starts back, wins the Fountain of Youth. He's your 5-2 favorite. Of course, we both have Wetabario on top, right?
Yep. Gonna put Wetabario on top. I mean, if you've watched the Magic Mike show for a while, if you've watched any of our live shows, if you watched the draw for the Florida Derby, you know where I was headed here. I think Wetabario absolutely trips out. We showed the Holy Bull when we were watching, or we watched back the Holy Bull on the draw show, and like everyone's, Wetabario got the perfect trip. You know what? Wetabario is going to get the perfect trip again. He makes his own trip. That's what I love about this horse. Kind of reminds me of Tiz the Law in that sense, where got the tactical speed where if no one wants the lead, he can go get it. If people want the lead, he can sit right behind him and go right around him. So I feel like this sets up extremely well for him. I think Classic Causeway inserting himself into this race was a huge plus for Wetabario, because now you have someone who wants to go with Charge It and allows Wetabario to sit right behind the 2 of them. And he's going to be able to swing wide, 3 wide, going into the final turn and make his move. And then it's going to be whether or not, Simplification can run on from the back, and if Classic Causeway and or Charge It can hold him off. And to me, I want jump on Simplification, which I think we'll get. We'll get that first jump. And I mean, we can talk more about each of the contenders. And I have a question for you that I think is a little bit interesting. But to me, it's Classic Causeway that I'm most worried about Wetabario not being able to get by.
And this is why is the only other horse you use in your 50-cent ticket. And I went 3 deep here, and then that's exactly why I used him as well. Along with the fact, I kind of touched on it before, but this is a horse that as soon as he wins the Tampa Bay Derby, Brian Lynch said, yeah, we're going to the Bluegrass. We all hypothesized, yeah, you go to the Bluegrass, 1 final start, get you ready for the Kentucky Derby. This horse was working so well, he's banging down the door, that Lynch said, no, we're going to run him a week early in the Florida Derby, which is already, without Classic Causeway, possibly the most difficult Derby prep of the year. All of those things happened, and Lynch went, yes, we're still going to run. I'm like, fuck, I'm worried now.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's one of the reasons I think, and this is, the buyers seem low on Classic Causeway if you're using DRF to handicap. The time form does not agree with the Tampa Bay numbers. I personally went back and timed the Tampa Bay Derby, and I understand why the buyer and the time form numbers are different. The time is wrong in the Tampa Bay Derby. The run-up is ridiculous in the Tampa Bay Derby. It wildly affects what that number comes back at as a buyer. That's why the time form numbers are significantly better. You mentioned as well on that the draw show that Classic Causeway was trying, or someone mentioned on the draw show that Classic Causeway was trying to learn how to rate. James brings that up here. Do you think this, with points in hands, is a chance to sit chilly behind and be able to kind of make that move around the turn? I think if he doesn't draw the 2, that's definitely possible. Since he drew the 2, Classic Causeway is going, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, if you go back to watch that, actually, you know what? I'll pull it up here in a second. I'm going to pull down the stream here because it is really important to just watch the replay of the Tampa Bay Derby. It's just incredible the break that Classic Causeway ends up getting to come out of the gate. He
catches an absolute flyer out of the gate. And then, the thing is that the only other horse that I think is true speed in this spot, or horse that can go with Classic Causeway, is going to be the 6-horse Charge It here for the Todd Pletcher barn. But you look at those 2 Charge It races now, and this is a problem for me. Volcanic comes back, and Volcanic runs in the Grade 1 Tampa, runs in the Sam F. Davis, faces Classic Causeway, gets beat by 4 lengths pretty easily, really. I mean, I don't think the Classic Causeway was all out in that one. So then you go, okay, well, let's look at Charge It's other race where he's able to break his maiden, and let's see how that goes. And you click over to that one, and you're like, okay, enough already. Touch Code, Logico. We covered this race and talked about all these horses. You've had some of these horses run it back. None of them have won. And so now I'm getting a little concerned that Charge It isn't exactly all that in a bag of chips. And if Charge It's not all that in a bag of chips, it means that Classic Causeway is going to have, he may get pace pressure, but it means that White Barrio is going to be able to get by Charge It. And then it's just Classic Causeway who's softened up by Charge It.
Here's the if you're watching the live stream, thanks for joining us. Here is the break, and watch how quickly the 4 horses out in front. And he's on the lead.
And he's gone.
Yeah. And the gate's open, and he's gone.
It literally looks like he cheated and got like a length head start on this field. It's kind of it looks like a Wesley Ward turf horse going 5 furlongs, like a Golden Pal break at the Breeders' Cup, where he gets loose, and I would expect the same thing. Now, if depending on where he draws in the Derby, you may see Classic Causeway try to rate, because you've got some other horses specifically coming out of California, coming out of New York, that may have more natural speed than Classic Causeway early. So we'll see if they try to rate him in the Derby. But here in the Florida Derby, breaking out of the 2 posts, I don't see how you do it.
Yeah, that image I showed up there, that's you don't if you wanted to rate, you break like that and then you rate, you should be punched in the face by the trainer and everybody who bet money on you to try and win that, because that's the dumbest decision you could have ever made. Let's go back to the chat. There's some thoughts here.
So who's your 3rd horse, real quick? You said you went 3 deep.
Yes, we'll do that. Yeah, thank you. Simplification for the simple, and I don't like this horse. And this is chalk. This is so damn chalky. I'm going with, the top 3 choices here. But I really think there's a decent chance I can beat Kathleen O in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. And I'll be damned, Mike, if I'm sitting here sweating out like, hey, I beat her. I beat Kathleen O. This thing is going to pay buckets. Simplification sitting there, a horse that I have not been high on. And sometimes this is a horse that's I almost get too low on, that I can't see the forest for the trees. And it beats me. And I'm like, I am not letting this horse beat me, because enough people who are smarter than me like this horse. Listen, man, I'm going to pay the extra money and chalk out and put him on my ticket.
Yeah, it's ironic. Might have the most upside when you actually think about it, because
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
The horse hasn't broken well in 2 starts, last 2 starts.
Yeah.
Let's say the horse breaks well and is right with White Barrio to the inside behind the 2 leaders. And let's say Simplification learns how to change leads down the lane.
Yep.
Two things that could create a massive step forward that we have not seen yet from Simplification. You could make the argument that Simplification has the most upside if you get a better trip, which he's not in the last 2. Although I would blame Simplification for the trip, much like I give White Barrio credit for his trip. Simplification is causing his own problem. So to say that's going to change isn't, to me, a predictable outcome, right? I would lean more toward predicting he'll have problems again or have to go 6 wide again than he's going to trip out because of what we've seen. So to me, the Simplification has the most upside. I'm just not sure he'll achieve that upside in this start.
He's I just realized he's in 5 starts. He's never missed the board in dirt. His debut, he debuted on synthetic and didn't hit the board, but otherwise he got it there. So yeah, that's my. You said you had a question? Did you want to ask that, or did you want to go through the chat first? You had a.
I think it's going to suck now because I think we're going to have the same answer. If you had 3-1 on the 4 favorites to not hit the board, which one would you take? I think we're both taking charge it, right?
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
seems way too much speed and quit, and a big reason Chris brought up is that Pletcher's maiden grade stakes numbers really bad. I mean, if he'd had that, I think Pletcher's mad that he didn't win that debut, because if he wins that debut, well, everything's open. You've got 1 mile allowance, mile and 70-yard allowance. You can go anywhere with him. It's like shit. Now we got to do that. It's like command performance. You got one shot. If you don't do it,
Well, the counter to that would be, why didn't you just go to a mile allowance? Like, what difference does it make if the horse is a maiden or not at that point, right?
It's true.
Because you're going to stakes races for this horse, so the conditions aren't as relevant as a horse that you're worried can't get to the graded stakes level. Running an N1X, N2X for the money, it's not that big of a concern because you're going to the graded stakes anyway. So to me, that's kind of a weaker argument from the Pletcher side. If you're saying, well, we ran it in a maiden special weight because he was eligible. If you thought the growth was going to a different race, go to the other race.
Let's go with where is it? Steve's comment here. Did Papa Cap hate fairgrounds and he shot here on a new surface? Actually, not a new surface. He won his debut over this dirt. And if you don't remember, that's because it was 8 months ago. Oh, I'm not joking. It was 8 months ago. It was July last year when he did it. I don't think it changes his chances.
It was May last year when he did it.
It was what?
May.
Oh shit!
May 14th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no, he won the best pal in July. That's what he won in July. Wow. So it's been 10 months since he won at Gulfstream. I think the best chance that he has is third. I think it's an okay chance, but I think that's his best chance is third here. What about you?
Yeah, I have him slotted in at 4th right now.
Okay.
I don't think Papa Cap has a shot at winning the race. I think that he would. Look, Papa Cap's the most dangerous when he is either on the lead or right off it and is able to make a nice run. The problem is that there are multiple horses in here that are better being Papa Cap than Papa Cap is, right? They are better at his style, and so it would be tough. He'd need multiple horses not to fire here to be able to win. And honestly, that's one of the beauties and the kind of the crappy part about the Florida Derby this year. You need 4 horses to not run their A race for anyone else to win. If any of those 4 horses run their A race, it's better than any of the other 7 horses A race, right? So when we talk about, ticket structure and sequences and beating favorites, things like that, you can have an 8 race, like Kathleen O's race is a great example. If Kathleen O doesn't win, it's an upset, doesn't matter who it is, it's a price. Here that's a 7-horse field with 1 heavy favorite. Here you have 4 horses that'll be about the same price. You're kind of forced to pick and choose between them if you want to be able to create an advantage for yourself outside of this structure. So to me, it's tough to go more than 2 deep here. You maybe can push 3 deep if you're not in love with Kathleen O, and that's kind of your argument for why you want to go 3 deep. I think going 4 deep and using the 4 favorites here really puts you behind the 8 ball from a ticket sequencing perspective.
Absolutely. And normally I wouldn't even use freaking simplification. I would have just gone with what you did to go 2-7, but I'm purposely on this. I'm calling this a special situation. I'm going to do that. Well, listen, Papa Cap, I think Aaron said it on either we were live or it was right when we got off, but he said, they interviewed Mark Cassie after the draw for the Florida Derby, and he basically said he's here because he doesn't know what else to do with the horse right now, can't figure out what's wrong and why he's going backwards. And Block Party, I saw you brought up why he's being dismissed. We're all dismissing everybody who's been in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. That race has come back beyond shitty. The only horse that's won was Pinehurst, and you did it in the Saudi Derby. So, that doesn't really count. So, you've got that to be concerned about. Yeah, just so many concerns here. So many concerns. So anyways, I asked Jared this question with the full preview at racenews.com will be available shortly after this live show is done. And I asked Jared on that, how many horses from this race go to the Kentucky Derby, Mike? Because I'm going to say 5.
Really?
You can have 5 horses. So I think everybody comes out of this okay. Classic Causeway's in. Simplification is in.
Agree.
Papa Cap is in.
Agree. I think it's 4. I don't think Charger hits the board. I think Charger runs 7th here.
Oh, we're not talking about that horse. Who got
going
third?
Captain?
Who got 3rd in the Fountain of Youth Stakes? If he gets 4th in this race, which he very well could do, he has enough points to go in the Kentucky Derby, and it's one of those. It's the same trainer that had Bodie Express. It's Gustav Delgado.
Yeah, I don't think O Captain's getting 4th in this race or 3rd in this race, though. I mean, he'd have to.
4th will do it.
Fourth would do it. Maybe but I think it's going to be tough for him to get fourth. I would take Strike Hard over O Captain personally. Like Strike Hard would be the long shot if I was. Ironically, I think Clapton even has a like outside chance of being a superfecta type blow up horse. Although I don't expect either of those horses to be able to get into the top three. Like those would be the keying in fourth place spot where like you play 7 with 2-3 with 2-3, and then you put bombs in that fourth spot and you leave out charges. Kind of how I'd attack the super. And it'd be Clapton. It would be probably the 1 Strike Hard and Papa Cap the 5.
Last horse I did want to ask your opinion about, because I don't think he's got a shot to win, but I'm very curious to see how he runs, and it could very well hit the board at 30-1. The 11 horse Steel Sunshine, and it's a horse who's bred for dirt. He's a son of Constitution out of an unbridled song mare, bred to go 1 mile and 1/8, which he did last time out. Not bet, 25-1, was beaten pretty handily by a horse Skippy Longstocking that Saffie Joseph is sending to the Wood Memorial Stakes. But before that was behind In Due Time in that big race with American Icon and Ironworks. He seems to be progressing okay, but Little Red Feather Racing bought into him after, I believe it was after that last race at 1 mile and 1/8. And they put him in the Florida Derby here. He only has the 1 win, and it was going 1 turn at Gulfstream. I think this horse, it like in your try, bottom of your super, I kind of like this horse. What do you think about
him? No. Not for me. I get it. I understand where you're coming from, and you can make the case for this horse making another step forward. The problem is that they went 13 seconds the last quarter of a mile in the last race, so that's not good. They're going to be going much faster in this spot. They also blitzed out in 45 seconds flat in that race, so you had wildly fast fractions. The horse that set the pace ended up finishing last in King Cab. The horse that ran fourth, Little Vic, or second, ended up running fourth in Little Vic. So it kind of set up to make that race look a little better on paper than it necessarily was, with the pace being so swift and the closers kind of just being able to pick up all the pieces.
Horse Guy Mike brings up something that we touched on the live show, Mike. So, and I thought you did a great job of explaining it, so I wanted to give you a chance to do it again here. For anybody who missed it, Horse Guy Mike's concern is with Classic Causeway is that his trainer won't have him all out before the Kentucky Derby, because as we said, he's in based on points. He is, no matter what happens, if he doesn't earn a single point here, he's in the Kentucky Derby. So Horse Guy Mike thinks maybe Lynch is using this as an extended work tune-up to keep him in shape. Why do you generally disagree with that sentiment, Mike?
Well, it's $1 million race, right? And so you're going to this race to try and win this spot. And the truth in horse racing, the fact of the matter is, nothing is guaranteed. We're still, I don't know what, basically 5 weeks out from the first Saturday in May. A lot can happen in 5 weeks, with or without running a race. You've got to ship this horse. You've got to run workouts. You've got chances to pop a fever like White Abario did a week ago. Like, there are a ton of things that can go wrong in horse racing. When you got a shot at $1 million grade 1 race that is a major Kentucky Derby prep, and you have 5 weeks to recover that horse, you're going to be tuned up for it. Like, I realize that there are certain spots where maybe you're saying, okay, we're progressing the horse and getting ready to go. But the plan all along was to have this horse run another prep. So it's not like we're inserting a race where we were planning a workout, right? We were planning on running next weekend at Keeneland anyway. So it's like the plan was to run another race. Clearly, we're ready now. This race is worth more money. We want to get in here for $1 million. I expect that Classic Causeway is going to be tuned up and ready to go.
Yeah, that work. He literally has one work out of the Tampa Bay Derby, and he goes 47-2. And Lynch goes like that. That's it. We have to put him in. Like, there's no reason to. It's like what Fausto Gutierrez did last year with Lachuska, right? He didn't want to run her every 3 weeks, but he said, if I don't, she's going to hurt herself because she's just too amped up. Also, you mentioned, Mike, it's $1 million race. It's a grade 1 race. This is this is the last crop of Giants Causeway, right? This is like when Scat Daddy died and Justified and Mendelssohn were the last crop. It was like everybody, it meant that much more to them. You're going to get that with Classic Causeway. Those owners are smart. They know you've got a multiple graded stakes winning grade 1 placed son of Giants Causeway, the last one of his line. You're going to make sure that every shot you take is your best one possible. And if you get your grade 1 win here, even if you don't win the Kentucky Derby, you are so set with this horse.
Yeah, yes, and it's one of those horses too where I don't think that the connections necessarily thought this was going to be a Derby horse from day one, right? And so everything here is gravy in their eyes. They've already won the Tampa Bay Derby. You've already won another prep. This is a homebred horse. Like this is the ultimate ride right now. So why not take a swing, and why not see what happens? And like I said, you're going to have this horse ready for the Florida Derby. It's not like it's one thing when you're saying it's the Sam F. Davis, right? Not knocking the Sam F. Davis, but it's a grade 3. It's an earlier prep. Like there's a bunch of different
layoff,
yeah. Like this is the third off the layoff, $1 million race, major prep. We're gonna be ready to roll. And by we, I mean the horse I'm picking for second. So
that's going to do it for the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I to talk about the late pick 4 all stakes sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, April 2nd. That's not the right one. If you are planning on playing that, hey, we have the inside track to the Florida Derby wagering guide available for pre-sale right now at racingdudes.com. It's going to have full in-depth coverage of all 10 stakes races at Gulfstream on Saturday, along with full in-depth coverage of the two, the Derby and the Oaks preps over at Oaklawn, the Arkansas Derby and the Fantasy Stakes, along with all of the normal stuff that comes with the guide. So make sure you go check that out. Again, if you are a premium subscriber, you get all of these included for free, as well as you get invited to the exclusive betting tournament challenge that Mike Somich is going to tell you about before we give out our tickets.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped, man. We've got the first Racing Dudes Tournament Challenge tomorrow on horsetourneys.com. If you're a subscriber on the site, check out your dashboard, go to Tournament Challenge, and it'll take you a link directly to the tournament. I'm also going to shoot out an email to all the Somobomb subscribers, so keep an eye out for your email on that. The Racing Dudes is seeding the pool with $150 in Horse Tourneys site credit, and we'll be live tomorrow talking, I think Magic and I actually, the two that are doing the live show tomorrow, talking about the tournament from 5 to 6 and going over the golden hour pick 4, so make sure you join us from 5 to 6 tomorrow. A little tourney talk. We'll be talking about the different strategies that you'll have in both pick and pray as well as live tournaments. We go through it. And one thing I'm excited about, I mentioned this a couple times, but it gives you a chance to really see how you stack up in the major tournaments. We're using the same featured race set as going to be used for the NHC qualifier that's on Horse Players tomorrow, as we're going to use for the 15K cash tournament that's on Horse Tourneys tomorrow. So you'll be able to see exactly where you stack up against the players that are playing the major tournaments.
And I can guarantee that within a week or two of doing this, we got Dr. Tangs and Breeze in. Awesome. I can already guarantee that one of you is going to hit this thing early when you're a newbie. You'll be like, oh, this is great. And you are going to get sucked in. You remember how quickly you got sucked into horse racing when whoever it was that introduced you, however it happened? Remember how quickly that happened? Yeah, that's going to happen again with this. I'm just going to warn you that right now.
Well, I would also argue that you're going to see the tournament size double and triple in the weeks after we do this too. Yep. Because the first week we do it, people are like, oh, I didn't know this was happening. How did I missed it? How did I not get in? Right. And so I'm guessing we're going to get 20 to 30 people for $150 free money there in the top spot. And 5-6 tournaments into this, we're going to be close to 50 or 70 people. And so it's got a lot harder to win. So get involved in the earlier ones. It'll be a good time.
And it literally is a lot of fun. They're coming for Mike. They're coming for you, Mike.
I've actually got to go. We have a tornado warning.
Oh, boy. We're out. Mike, you go. I'll wrap up. Yeah. You go.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Bye, Mike. Wow. All right. Well, that's that. Boy, there's lots of things that have ended the show prematurely or crazy things that have happened. A tornado warning. That's a first for the Magic Mike Show. Yeah. Listen, I really didn't. I recognize that sound, and I was kind of hoping that's not what it was. But hey, listen, I want to thank everybody for joining us. There's still 40 of you hanging out with me here. So really appreciate everybody who's joining us. Like Mike said, join that tournament challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chris, spoiler alert, despite the horse not being entered tomorrow, Mike is picking English B. I thought this was funny. Mike laughed when it popped up. So that was pretty great. Listen, we got blinkers off. They're going to be coming up here a little bit later tonight, probably 4 or 5 Central, or 4 to 5 Pacific time is when they'll be showing up. So, yeah, as Alex says, it's the Magic Show. So we need to wrap this up and get out of here because things are going over. Things are going to happen really quickly. You never know what kind of crazy soundbite Magic's going to pop up on you. Timber! I love that one. Always look for an excuse to play that. Hey, listen, thanks so much for joining us. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. Mike is at Somobomb18, number 1, number 8. Corporal is at racing_dudes. As I mentioned, Blinkers Off will be live later today. Dudes Who Bet Sports was on earlier today. They talked all about Arkansas Derby and Oaklawn as well, so make sure you check them out. Mike and I will be back on Monday. The tournament challenge Friday. Oh, and Saturday, of course. We have the inside track to the Florida Derby wagering guide. And you guys have probably learned now that whenever we do those wagering guides, we're doing a Racing Dudes live show covering at least the late pick 4 sequence of those races. So we're going to be live. It'll be Mike and I on Saturday. The dudes will be at Oaklawn Park for the Arkansas Derby, so they'll jump in from time to time, I'm sure, but they're going to be there live for that. We're going to have some special guests for the Saturday show as well. It's just a matter of figuring out the timing of when the Florida Derby, the Arkansas Derby, when everything's happening. So if you're following us on Twitter, you'll get all that information. Also, make sure you go to youtube.com/racingdudes and hit the subscribe button. There's also a little bell. Hit that notification bell, and then that way, whenever we go live with Magic Mike or a live show on Saturday, the Friday tournament shows, you'll get notified whenever we're going live, so you never miss any of the fun antics like, hey, I don't know, tornadoes showing up right in the middle or towards the end of a show. So thanks again, everybody, for joining me here. I answered it here. Appreciate everybody. We will see you back Saturday, Friday, Monday. We're here all the time. Take care.
Get the all-inclusive inside track to the 2022 Florida Derby wagering guide, featuring in-depth analysis of every single stakes on the card, including the $1 million Florida Derby. Plus, get race-by-race analysis, betting suggestions, and multi-race plays for the entire Gulfstream Park card. As a special bonus, you'll also get in-depth analysis of the $1.25 million Arkansas Derby and the $600 fantasy stakes from Oaklawn Park, major prep races for the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. All wagering guides are included with any monthly subscription to premium picks from the experts at racingdudes.com. Learn more at racingdudes.com. And remember, never play a big day without visiting the Racing Dudes. First,